Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. Can you hear me? Thank you. As I grow older, you may have experienced that too. All the body parts don't cooperate. So while I'm speaking, you will find that my mind doesn't coordinate. So the hand goes away, and people have to say, "Bring it back, we can't hear you." But feel free to tell me. It doesn't offend me. It's good to see you all in person here. It's much better than the virtual contact that we have on the screen. Excuse me. I haven't been around very much this year. I returned from India in March from my yearly visit. As you know, I go there every year. And then in June, I was in Guatemala. Just a few bunch of things I couldn't get around coming here. But there's nothing like in-person, face-to-face meetings and getting to see you again. I was at the party, Bloomington Rotary party at the lake last Thursday, so it was a good opportunity to see a bunch of you folks there. I also see some new faces here that I have not known from before, but most of them, we know each other. This is my yearly update. As you know, every year I've been coming here to give you an update on our programs in India, and that's what I'll do this afternoon. There's something new this year that I had alluded to when I gave the update last year, that I was thinking of starting a program in Guatemala. I went there twice last year, and we started the program in March this year. So I was there in June to see how things were going. But I'll talk a little more about it during the presentation. First, I like to thank from the bottom of my heart to the Rotary Club of Bloomington, because this is where I started as a Rotarian in 2001. And Bloomington Rotary was the first club to give us a grant for our programs in India. And you have given us grants every year since. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Because what is Rotary, or what is a Rotary Club? It's the people. And that's what has been happening for the last 25 years. We have come a long way in our programs in India, and I will show you some of the work that we are doing. Let me see. One other piece of business that I might forget during my presentation is we do an annual event and a fundraiser every year here. This year it's on the 4th of March. That's a Tuesday next month. And it's at Courtyard by Marriott, which is in the Bloomington-Edina border, just a block south of 494, between 100 and France. So that's pretty convenient compared to what we had last year, which was downtown. Please sign up. You may have received the invitation by email. All you have to do is go down through that email. At the bottom of the mail, there's a link. You click on it, and you can register. You will enjoy it because we have Indian food there, Bollywood dancers. They have been coming to us for the last 5 years or so, and some auction items. Now to the presentation. We are working there under International Village Clinic, which I founded in 1999, just 3 months after an early retirement. In India, I found out that I couldn't work at that time under International Village Clinic. So I founded an organization there, which is called Mano Khidmat Foundation. Some of you came from India would probably know what it means. Mano is for humanity, Khidmat means service, and foundation is, you all know. I wanted those 3 languages and those words because we are really serving their humanity and human beings, not any religion or any political views. So let's move on. And before I forget, thank you, Mahendra, for bringing your friends to this meeting today. I appreciate it. The first slide is the map of India, and I'm sure most of you recognize it. This is Uttar Pradesh. That's one of the states of India and the largest state. We are at the far east end of it, where it joins Bihar, another state in India. So this is where our program is. Sorry for, as I grow older, my hands shake too. It's right about over here. So that's where our project is. This is a slide which I never gave any presentation without showing this, because it's a very important slide for me as well as for the project. In 1996, I was on a business trip to India for the company that I was working here. And one of my presentations was in Calcutta. And I had been an admirer of Mother Teresa for a long time, ever since I came to Minnesota. And the reason I say that slide is important because it was a half-an-hour meeting with the mother, and it changed my life. I'm sorry I get emotional when I think of that meeting. I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today had I not met her. As you can see there, that's me. I'm not a tall person. She came about that high. However, she was bigger than life. I felt like a small bug standing in front of her. So thank you, Mother. Next slide is, since we didn't have much there, we were just starting. This picture was taken 2001. I purchased a piece of land here, which was cleaned up. As you can see, it's in the middle of the boonies. No homes, no stores, nothing there. But we cleaned it up. Oh, the heck. And that's where we wanted to build our facilities. 3 years later, that same place looked like this. This is our residential building where some of our staff stays, all this landscaping. The This is a better picture. That's the residence. This is the preventative care building. This is the hospital building. I knew when I went there in 2002, in these villages, we were lucky if we had 2 hours of power. Sometimes we would have no power for a whole week. And I remember I would ask people like when there's no power, we call an SP right away when it's coming. It used to be an SP, now it's not an SP. But there I asked people and they would look up, and I kept wondering why the heck they look up. So finally I asked them, I said, what do you mean you look up? I'm asking you when the power will. He said, you don't understand, only God knows when it will be back. So I learned a few lessons. So I knew right away that, hey, and since I'm an engineer by profession, I knew I will have to have solar power, but there was no solar anywhere for that matter, not just in India, nothing here or in Europe either. In India at that time, in about 2004, the government had a research plan that they built small solar units. So I bought a 0.5 kilowatt solar unit from them, which was this one, which is still alive and kicking. You wouldn't believe. About 3 to 4 years later, then solar started coming in, and India too. Tata is one of the largest manufacturers of solar panels in India. But at that time, there was nothing. However, in the next 5 to 6 years, I kept buying these several solar panels, and all our facilities since about 2008 runs on solar, everything. We have 2 programs there. That's how I started. A curative program where we treat diseases, outpatient service, inpatient, 24/7 emergency, baby delivery, women's health education. But the main focus was on the preventative health care. I had researched quite a bit and read quite a bit before starting it. Prevention is the real cure everywhere. And that's because of malnutrition and undernutrition. And it was not just India, every developing country in the world at that time and even now, in Asia, Africa, South America, Central America, malnutrition and undernutrition is heavy. And that's why there are lots of problems. So I really wanted to focus on prevention, where we have, I called it an integrated preventative healthcare program. A lot of people provide nutrition, some give vaccinations, some do health education, family planning, but in India, I didn't find anyone with an integrated program like we have. In nutrition, we provide nutritional supplements to pregnant women, children under 5 years of age, vaccination, health education, and family planning. In some countries, family planning may not be that important, and in India too. Now the families are much smaller, but in the villages at that time, 5 to 10 children everyone had. So moving forward, I'll show you a couple of slides from the healthcare program. I used to show a lot of them, but for the sake of time, I won't. This is how we started there in 2002, February 2002. That's when we launched our program. I got a mobile clinic built which could accommodate a doctor, a nurse, a pharmacist, and one by one people would get in and be served. And we would try to find a place. We started with 3 centers. We tried to find a place where there were enough trees to provide shade. These people would start coming at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we would serve all day in 3 centers, including where you saw our buildings there too. This is how we were doing. Once we got our our facility is done now. We had offices for the doctors. Here you can see emergency care cast. This still is a big issue in Indian villages. A lot of women just put themselves on fire for many issues that I won't go into, but these are cultural issues in the families. They set themselves on fire and they are brought to the hospital. You wouldn't believe how many came. This woman was almost 70% burned. You can see there. She stayed at our hospital for 2 months, and finally she was back to normal. We have wards there now to the preventative health care. This is how we do prenatal care. That's unheard of in those villages, prenatal care. But we started providing them, visiting pregnant women in their homes. That's our doctor checking her. This is how we provide the nutritional supplements, a can which has protein, multivitamins, calcium, iron, folic acid, everything that a pregnant woman needs. We have field workers in all these villages that we are serving. We are serving 60 villages in our preventative health care program now. From each village, we have field workers. They know what woman is pregnant. So from her first month of pregnancy throughout 9 months of pregnancy, we provide that supplement that she takes with a glass of water or a glass of milk. So these are either pregnant women or they have children under 5 years of age. Because when the woman delivers, we still give her the same nutritional supplement until the baby starts eating, which is on average about 9 months in these villages. Then we switch the same nutrition to the child and follow for 5 years. That's our nutritional program. Here we also started giving those supplements to children in nursery schools, kindergarten schools, because there were children under 5 years of age. Now we are providing 28 schools, the nutritional. That's vaccination. This is health education. In some villages we have indoor facilities, but in most of them there are none. That's our doctor. People get together and we provide education. In the nutritional program, we weigh every baby from up to 5 years of age. Similarly, pregnant women, we keep track of them, plotting growth charts. Some of you who visited our facilities, like Bob Erickson, Don Stiles, you may remember, we plot these charts and follow the malnutrition part of the child and provide them help so that they can get out of that condition. We started giving polio shots from day one. When I started the program at that time, India was number 1 in the world. There were only 7 countries in 2002 where they still had polio. Now they don't have polio in India. Was eradicated about 5 years ago. But at that time, and I think it was 2012 when Don, you, Bob, and Diane was our vice president-elect. So every Rotarian who visited that year our project, they had the opportunity to provide polio drink. Now it's not vaccination, they drink. And we do it every month in our nutritional program. We are still doing the polio shots. I'm showing you this picture for one simple reason. This woman, this was her first child who was totally, I don't know if he had polio or what happened, I don't know for sure, but he was bedridden totally. He was about 12 years of age when I took that shot. She didn't know anything about our program, but then after the birth of that child, she heard about us, and we started providing her all the support that we do to pregnant women, and her next 3 children were normal. I'll skip that. Here too, for the sake of time, I'll skip this. This was our program accomplishments in 2019, just before COVID. I provided that because during the COVID, the medical program in particular went down, but it's now coming back up. However, I will show you the next slide, which shows the comparison between 2002 and 2019. In the curative program, we served 15 villages and 10,000 people in 2002. In 2019, we were serving 70 plus, about 40,000 people. And I froze this program at this level in about 2012 because we just wanted to concentrate on the preventative health care. There, in 2002, we had 1 village with 3,000 people. In 2019, we served 56 villages, almost 200,000 people. Currently, we are serving close to 250,000 people a year. We have a staff of 60, among them are 3 doctors. All salaries, they're all salaried. There is no voluntary business in India, at least in that part of India. No one volunteers. So they're all salaried, all salaries, all medicine, all nutritional supplements, vaccination, everything we do for less than $150,000. Just think about it, folks, to put it in perspective. In this country, you couldn't have half a doctor for that money. Our overhead is about 1%. There are no salaried people in the United States, in Minnesota. We are all volunteers. And of course, I'm devoting the rest of my life, whatever is left. It meant a lot in 2002, the rest of my life, but now it doesn't mean as much, but whatever, whatever it is. Then in 2018, I started a school, an English medium school, and there's quite a story why I did it, because I had no plans of starting a school. Maybe another time when I give an update, or if you asked a question, I will explain, but there was a very definite reason for it. We called it World Class English School. This was a building that we renovated. You wouldn't like to see what it looked like before we did that. But this is a leased space. 2 of our classes are done here. It's a school. It started in a very different way, run in a different way. Nowhere in the world they run it that way. I started with 1 class nursery, about 30 kids there. That's all. That's what the whole school was. Mostly people start with primary school up to class grade 5 or high school to 10th. We had a plan for 10th, but not this way. So nursery, when the nursery kids graduated next year, they went to lower kindergarten, as it is called. So this is how we kept building 1 class at a time. Now we have nursery, LKG, UKG, and grade 5. So 8 classes now we are doing. But we didn't have much space, so we started building here. That was our space. I purchased it about 15 years ago. It's right across from the hospital. We started building. That's the office, 1st classroom, 2nd classroom, 3rd, 4th. Now we have 4th classrooms. At our fundraiser, we asked for $30,000 every year, and I kept building 1 class at a time. Here are some pictures of it. We have 2 shifts. one in this new building and the second shift in the old building. These are younger kids, as you can see. In the older building, these are the older kids. These are the new classrooms. This was taken in, I think, 2021 or 22. So they all had masks, as you can see. This year in March, 2 teachers from Minnesota went to visit us. One of them is Christy. She's also our board member, International Village. She is a full-time teacher in Hastings, Minnesota. She has gone there several times. She goes there for 2 weeks. And they brought 2 suitcases full of materials like this, where they try to teach kids. This year, Helen, her friend, also visited us, and these are the things they brought to teach the kids. Now, so much for India. As I mentioned, I started a program in Guatemala this last March. This is a map of Guatemala. You can see Mexico, Belize is there. This is Guatemala. And our program is in this state. They call them departments. They have 22 departments in Guatemala. They don't call them states. Our program is in Salola. Next, this is San Lucas Toliman. That's the name of that town where our program is. This is about 40 square miles, 10 miles long and about 4 miles wide. This is a picture of where our program is, old San Lucas Toliman. Santa Ana is one of the areas, they're a small area that was built just since last year. And the reason was, this is Santana, you can see some homes there, about 1,500 people are living there. This is San Lucas Toliman. Some of you may know that Guatemala is very mountainous. They have 3 living volcanoes there. One of them, I went up there last December when I was visiting there. But this is San Lucas Toliman. This is a very high mountain, not very high, not like over in India, Himachal, not Everest, but very high. And this is the town. I was told that about 12 years ago they had a huge storm, and the winds were extremely harsh toward the bottom of the mountain. And this length of houses, about half a kilometer wide, they were all wiped out. So people lost their houses, homes. And therefore, the government started building homes for them, but they started building not there on this end. These are some of the pictures of their homes. These are just 2-room homes that they built. When I was there in June, that was a picture taken at that time. He's the mayor of Santana. That's me. That's Dr. Raphael Toon. He is the one who is running that program there. I visited a few families. One of these families, I was sitting there. I got tired, and their 2 kids came along. It was kind of cute. Last June when I went, I saw 2 camps there. We called it the field work. One of the camps where you can see women, pregnant women and children. It's a similar program as in India, which I have, of course, experience of over 20 years. So we start here with pregnant women and children under 5 years of age. For very young babies who cannot stand, we measure their height and weight and keep track of it. We have this concoction where the baby is lying down and they measure their height Here the kid is measured, his weight is measured. This is the nutritional supplements that we provide them. Here is a cute little kid. He's walking with his 1 month of supply of nutritional supplements. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. You are changing lives. We are truly changing lives in these villages. These are all rural areas, both in India and in Guatemala. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. If you have time.
One or two questions.
What is could you say again the top age now of your school? You started with nursery, and what's the grade you have now?
Grade 5.
Fifth, okay. Wonderful, congratulations. I do miss the picture of the original school where they had to leap up to get to the second level.
Oh, you remember that?
Probably
Yes.
like that.
Yes. That is in India, those villages, not India, because Delhi, Bombay, and these villages are totally different.
How many duplicates we can get of you?
Pardon me?
How many duplicates of you we can have on the board? So we can, 150,000 is a very minimal budget for such a big job. And I'm sure there are many people in this room, or even people who are not in this room, who can raise those $150,000. But I think the most important thing will be how many of you are available in the world who can spearhead it.
That I can't answer. You probably can, and your friends can answer it better than I could.
Because, it took you 20 years, probably it won't take 20 years next time.
No.
Probably it will take 2 years.
Yes, for example, in Guatemala, right away, we are on it. Within 3 months, when I went there, they were already on it. And I'll be going there again, probably before the end of the year.
Abul, tell the story about vitamin A. Vitamin A?
Yes.
Are you originally?
Oh, yes, that's an interesting subject you mentioned. When I went to start this program in 2001, 1999, when I took an early retirement and went there, I left India when I was about 16 years old. So I didn't stay in India very long. I was lucky enough, not 16, maybe a little later. After my undergraduate degree, I got a fellowship, a scholarship to go to Japan. And I went to the University of Tokyo, got my master's in engineering there. And subsequently, I wanted to go back home to visit my mother, but I didn't have the money. I got a fellowship in Canada, in Ottawa, for a PhD program. So I went straight from Tokyo to Ottawa. And in Canada, I lived about 8 years and then moved to the United States in 1972 and never left and came to Bloomington. I think I'm one of the oldest Bloomingtonians in Minnesota, in Bloomington. I've lived there more than 50 years now in Bloomington. But to answer your question, say again, I got vitamin A. Yes, so when I went to India in 1999 and then 2000, in 1999, in September or October, I left and went there for 3 months. I had been going to India for business from 1993 to 1999, just before retirement, among other countries. I went to India 3 to 4 times every year, but I was going to Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, and back here, or over to Singapore, because I would cover 4 or 5 countries one trip. Now, when I went to Bombay or Delhi or Bangalore, I was staying in five-star hotels. The hell, that's not India. 85% of India lives in the villages where you saw these programs, and the contrast is undescribable. You can't, unless you go and see. Those who have gone there, even for a week, they know the contrast in India, what the life. So I didn't really know what the life in these villages was. I was 16 years of age when I left. So I spent 3 months just talking to people and trying to understand what I should do. I knew illiteracy was huge. There were no jobs I knew. There were health issues, but I didn't know what to do. And to answer your question, one of my friends there, he is a top eye doctor in Varanasi city. He did a free clinic every year, every month, someplace, some small village or large village. I went with him and I saw in 3 hours, he had 200 patients waiting for him in 3 hours. Just quick mathematics, 3 hours has 180 minutes, 200 patients. On average, not even a minute for a patient, but that's how life is in India. So among them, and he was an eye doctor, here comes, people come, he examines them. Here comes a little girl. I have a picture of her. I would have shown it to you in the past. I have shown it to you. She sat down, 5 years of age, her parents standing behind her. He examines her in 30 seconds. He said, she'll be blind for the rest of her life. And I thought, well, maybe she has some disease. After about 20 minutes, several patients, another little kid comes, and within 30 seconds, he does the same thing. He'll be blind for the rest of his life. He was sitting, I was sitting next to him. I asked him, I said, hey, why do you say, why would they be blind? Oh, he said they have cataract. And I said, gosh, Sunil, you're kidding. People get cataract at my age, not these 5-year-old children. He said, no, they get it when they are born sometimes and when they are little babies from vitamin A deficiency. And he said they don't come to visit me because it costs them a whole month's income to come to me. And so they wait until there is a free clinic or something like mine. Now they come and it's a little too late. Believe me, that at that time I was staying in a small hotel in Varanasi. Now I was not visiting there, selling things on behalf of a company, so I couldn't stay in a 5-star. I went back home, not home, to the hotel that evening, and believe me, I literally cried because I couldn't see the justice in 5-year-old kids going blind for the rest of their life. What was their future? They would be begging on the streets of Calcutta, Bombay, and Delhi. That's what their future would be. I knew it. And so I said, okay, and I asked people, as I said earlier, what is your need? What should I do here? I don't want to start something that I want to do. I want to start what you want. And almost majority said, there are no clinics here, no hospitals here. Can you start us? That was the reason why I started a hospital, and we started giving vitamin A, part of our nutritional supplements to the children. And believe me, at least in those 60 villages that we serve, there's not a single child. It just, in a year, about 3 times you give them vitamin A pills. There is no question of it. And if you are giving the supplements to the women, pregnant women, then the child would be born healthy enough. Not like here, but healthy enough. So it takes time to get over it. But yes, you can. Thank you for asking me the question.
We best wrap up. I know we had another question, maybe we can get it afterwards, but this is an example of what Rotary has meant in terms of an impact, huge impact for, just, I mean, it's just I can't even put words to how many people that this person here, this club, has impacted. And I hope that you'll be able to join us. We've got a fundraiser that's coming up. Is it September? Remind me the date.
24th.
The 24th in the evening there, and we'll have it in the Rib. So if you're a guest, we'll get something out to you. But we'd love to have you join us so we can continue that impact. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you very much.